Babyface and the Heel is brought to you by Sleeves. Use code Backlog40 for 40% off your first order.
Gotta find you.
Hey, how we doing today?
Oh, hello.
Hey, what's up? Let's get right into things, guys. Let's talk about this February 19th edition of AEW Dynamite. Let's just jump right in. What's up, guys?
Oh man, I'm excited about this show tonight. The reason we had a delay is I've been on the phone. Sorry for my dress down appearance today. Been out sailing with the big guys, you know how it is. And I've just been on the phone with all these guys, all these executives over in these different wrestling organizations because they're just head over heels for what's been going on in AEW. So, Alpha, take it away.
Well, you're gosh damn right they're head over heels. And you know what? So am I. I'm ready to get in this gosh damn show and talk about probably the most electrifying show of AEW Dynamite I've laid eye on.
Oh, my God, you ain't kidding on that. I couldn't agree more on that one.
Ricky, they jumped right into one of the greatest things I've ever seen in wrestling, and that's this tag team battle royale. So, could you kind of set this up for everybody? Let them know what's going on with this battle royale.
I mean, when things start off, it doesn't even give any entrances. All the guys are in the ring. The bell hits, and it goes mayhem. There's like 6-7 different tag teams, and the rules of the match are being told to you as they go. It goes as followed. It's an over-the-top battle royal, kind of Royal Rumble rules, and the first thing happens is that your teammates one of your teammates can get thrown out, and both feet hit the floor. Then you're still in. Both teams, both participants of the tag team have to be thrown out in order for the team to be eliminated. And that played a key role in the end of the match pretty much. So what you guys think of this match? I'm going to take it over to you, Mr. CEO.
You know, I'm going to say it right here. This match right here is exactly the type of thing I've been waiting for, and I didn't even know it. And the reason being, AEW has a lot of liberty in taking risks as compared to some of these other organizations. And when you watch, say, the Royal Rumble, there's some cool spots in it, but it's silly because you see everyone waiting to get hit or waiting for their moment to be thrown over the top rope. And this just looked like a catastrophe for everybody in a good way for the show. Like, people didn't know what they were doing. They were bouncing off of each other. You had some really, really dynamic tag teams. But, I got to really give a point out here to the fact that, you had teams like the Butcher and the Blade who had a third option on the outside. You had teams like Ortiz and Santana who had a third option on the outside who could help out during this battle royale, which made it even extra crispy.
And Ortiz didn't even get in the match till halfway through.
Yeah, and then you had this jobber cheater who, at first he grew on me, and then he turned into mold. This Orange Cassidy has to really probably take a step aside. How many times did his teammates almost get eliminated, and he's right there trying to stop it? And I'm so thankful for Bunny to come on. I think it was Buddy coming on over, trying to turn him on a little bit, and then give him a good old 1-2 right across the face. Alpha, how did you feel about this whole thing?
You know what? when you're the best, you do whatever it takes to win. And if that means bringing a third man to the party, you do it. Now, I don't like the bunny hitting my boy Orange Cassidy with a low blow. That is uncalled for. You do anything but at a low blow, but you do anything else to win.
I have a feeling she's been down there before. It's all I'm saying. Bunny is she's quite the show. She looks pretty darn good, especially next to the big Butchie, whatever the hell you want to call him, the Butcher, Butchie the Butcher, and Sling Blade. These two right here, they should have won this thing. And to see the Hardy Boys 2.0 come on in and just try to take this thing, I got to give it off to Matt and Nick. They did do a great job in pulling off the victory, the Young Bucks. But man, a lot of really good moments in this match. Ricky, what were some of the highlights for you before we move on?
Okay, the highlights for me were using the creativity and staying within the rules, especially with Orange Cassidy and with Bunny, both getting involved. It's a no disqualification match, but I mean, you use your creativity to the best of your ability, and that's what they did. And hats off to, I believe it was Matt Jackson, who speared the Butcher right through the middle rope.
Now, did you catch the stinger he got? It looked like he got a stinger in his back from that jumping through that middle rope there.
I did not see that. But
yeah, I mean, he's nothing.
Always got a stinger in his gosh damn back, brother.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
He's always like this.
Yeah, the way maybe it was just training and playing it off, but the way he landed, a little bit of a scorpion style where his back bent the wrong way. It's actually a maneuver that happened to me way back when I was in the ring myself up in Michigan. I got basically a scorpion spined, and it put me out of commission for a little while. So when I see that, I know what it feels like. It makes me wince, and maybe he was just playing it off, and I hope he was, because we need to have him get his ass kicked by the Hangman. But one thing here is towards the end of this match, we saw the hug. We saw the hug come out, and it was from Trent, our friend of the show, and Matt Jackson. So what do you think?
Bonus hug, brother.
Bonus hug. And every single time they go with these hugs, it turns into a devastating opportunity for the other team. And here you have, I think it was the Butcher took advantage, or it was Ortiz or whoever took advantage of that moment and capitalized on it. Almost got the elimination for it.
It was those cowards, Santana and Ortiz. I can't stand those jabronis.
Can't stand them. Those are some of the best tag teams.
It's not always about doing the most tactical maneuvers. Sometimes it's about giving the people what they want, just like I do each and every gosh damn day I'm on the stream. I give the people exactly what they want, and the people want that hug, brother. Now,
that hug it's a pretty key thing when you're as fragile as both of those tag teams are. You can be friend of the show, but the facts are facts. And the real thing is the Tiger style. When you have Ortiz coming at you hard with the rake of the back, the force of the fingernails across the back of the skin, and then the Tiger style approach to the camera. That's the type of stuff that we're looking for in AEW, and I want to see more of it. That should have got him the win. I don't know what that referee that was in there was thinking. And then we move on to one of the craziest bumps I've seen in a while. Sammy Guevara off the top with a kick that just folded him backwards in half. It didn't look good. It didn't look natural. But that man showed up later in the show, so I guess he's still alive. Rick, did you see that?
That was probably my best moment of the night, if I have to jump ahead to that. But yeah, I mean, what a bump did that guy took. He sold it 150%. You can't ask for a better show-stopping act than that. Yeah. And look, that I believe it was Matt Jackson. Am I right on that, or was it Nick?
It was Matt Jackson. The one with the brown hair is Matt. The one with the blonde hair is Nick. So Nick was outside. Yeah, he got eliminated first.
So Matt looked like a damn superhero.
Yeah, he did.
Super kicking everybody. And then to top it off was the cherry on top was the Sammy Guevara kick when Sammy Guevara comes leaping off this top rope like a springboard and just gets kicked in the face. I mean, damn, that was hard, and folded him backwards. and just folded them up. I mean, what a beautiful spot.
And Alpha, the repercussions of this match, it's a contender tag match. The winners of this match here, they go on to face and we'll get to it in a few, they go on to face the winners of the All Elite versus the Lucha Bros match. And as we know, the All Elite includes the Young Bucks. So with the Young Bucks taking the victory, obviously you have that dynamic. And between Hangman Page having his issues with Omega, as well as with the Young Bucks, it's setting up a pretty good dynamic, a pretty decent storyline we're building on that we've been talking about for 7 straight episodes. Here we are. What are we on, 8 or 9? It's just interesting to see the build up, and with the Jacksons getting the win, now we have ourselves a match, folks.
Oh yeah, smell an implosion. All right, let's move on, guys, to the next match, or should we just jump right into this promo that Nyla Rose gave for the women's division? What you guys think about that?
Yeah, let's skirt over the match real quick and then dive into the promo, because that's a little bit more important. With Statlander versus Shayna, it was a decent match. For a women's match that got
okay.
A lot of the time, I wouldn't say it was a snoozer, but neither personally, but neither competitor matters to the audience that much. Statlander a little bit more so, but I think after the match we got a little bit more, and now Statlander matters a little bit more, and that's how they build this division. We have Britt Baker on the mic, giving just a great commentary. I love the dynamic of her and Tony Schiavone. It's like she's coming across as if she truly cares about him, not trying to make fun of him.
She bought him that cup, dude. Did you see that cup?
I saw that cup.
Give me one of them cups.
So for those of you just tuning in, Britt Baker, she's a doctor, a dentist, and for the first 8 weeks or 6 weeks of AEW, they just shoved her down your throat. The fans hated it. She was a uber good guy or whatever, good girl or whatever you want to call her, and not too long ago she just started turning heel, and it started with talking about how hot she was and how she's a dentist and she's ripping people's teeth out of their head, and she's just really had this great dynamic with Tony Schiavone, and she's shitting on him left and right, and he's taking it with a smile. But then, I don't know if you noticed, but on that cup, she even spelt his name wrong, which just was icing on the cake with how she treats him like dirt, and he just accepts it. Toney.
I smell a manager position opening up for Mr. Schiavone.
I don't
know.
I don't see, I don't think that would work well for him. I think that would probably tarnish what he's good at, and there's mixed reactions across the people I've talked to with who like Schiavone and who don't like Schiavone. Some people really didn't like him back in WCW days, and other people did. There's a reason WWE didn't pick him up, when they started moving on. But one thing I want to say here is the fact that AEW is really getting everybody involved, even wrestlers who aren't wrestling or haven't been on the show for a while are coming out. They're making appearances, they're keeping people relevant, and they're keeping the announcers relevant. It's not just them talking. Having Tony Schiavone, who is a sellable asset to the AEW brand, it's just a smart business, and I know business. So I really appreciate Dr. Britt, coming in and pulling Tony Schiavone into the mix, giving him more of a spotlight. Tony Schiavone, he basically came out and said that even if he dies, he's making a demand that his family do not ever let his name show up in the WWE Hall of Fame. He hates Vince McMahon in real life with such a passion that he has stated that and is documenting it. He does not ever want his name associated with WWE again. They didn't do him good a long time ago, which is ultimately what ended him up in CW. And now I think they've tried to smear his name some more. So it's just great to see him get that opportunity to actually be more than just a voice. He's part of the team. And I have to give credit to Dr. Baker. She's just phenomenal. Statlander with the win. Big Bang Theory, one of the cooler maneuvers. Dangerous as hell looking. But Alpha, tell me a little bit about what you feel this match means to the women's division. Bring it in and talk about that promo with Nyla Rose.
Now, I didn't like the matchmaking on this match. They put two faces together, and I know they're trying to put Statlander over, and I don't like it when they put two faces. This would have been better against a Mel. A Mel would have been a much better matchup for this. But and another thing about Statlander, I'm going to shoot with you right now, brother. I don't like the alien thing. The boop in the nose, get it out of here. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Have that girl be badass. Have her be a biker chick or something.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the boop thing. I think they're just trying to play off on some of the humor aspect of the wrestling show, but I don't think it's really working. And hey, Rick, can you give a quick poll, Rick, if you don't mind, on the audience? Make sure the audio is looking good. Make sure we're not popping, or if you could check it on the side if you don't mind, because I'm looking at the levels over here and haven't fired Jeff yet. I don't know why, but
you haven't hit me. What do you mean?
It sounds good to me, brother. Now let's talk about that promo. I liked how Nyla Rose came out and she was saying she's breaking bitches, and I liked how Statlander came out and she said, "I'm gonna take that belt. I'm gonna take it right off of your belly." And then Big Swole came out and she said, "What'd she say?" She called Nyla brother, and I thought that was pretty gosh dang funny.
Nyla had actually a pretty solid promo. She came right out, like you said, "I break bitches when I get hungry." And she says, "I represent unbridled power. I'm the queen bee in this hive." Obviously a little bit rehearsed, but for her to come out and get some of that airtime and to be able to nail it was pretty special.
She had some conviction.
Yeah.
And she said all the right things that a heel needs to say. And it's looking like the women's division is actually going to get some storylines for once and actually matter in AEW. And I'm all for that. Let's go.
Yeah. So as as we move on to the next topic of discussion here with Jeff Cobb, and I'm done calling him John Moxley. Okay, I'm going to call him Sean Moxley, because every single time this asinine character comes out, okay, this wannabe alpha, the announcer has to say Sean Moxley. I can't stand it. I don't know why I hate it. I don't know why it bothers me. But you take someone like John Moxley, and he's the former face of WWE, face or heel, or however you want to look at it. And I think he does represent a great part of the brand. I'm not convinced yet. I want to see more out of Moxley. I want to see more. His matches slow the pace. I don't know how, but a match with Sean Moxley and this new guy, Jeff Cobb, slowed the pace of the show after a women's match. And I think that says something about not only the women's match being better than you guys are giving credit, but also it's probably got to suck to wrestle with that one eye. And, I guess that just gives, I got to give credit where credit's due. And Alpha's coming out here week in, week out, tearing people up in Apex Legends. One eye can't die. So, some people can handle it with one eye and perform at the top level, get paid higher than anybody else. And others, they come in the ring, the guy's trying to hold his mask over his face, he can't even keep it on. It seemed like he was way more worried about that eye patch falling off than he was trying to attack his teammate or his opponent, the big
Wasn't it
Jeff Cobb.
To his face?
Kinda. No, it was more of just a 3-point eye patch, and it's kept sliding off. I mean, I saw his eyeball at one point, not damaged. So, what do you think about this, Alpha?
The match, you're right. It was kind of slow. But the whole point of the match, and you're missing the point, is the attack. Another attack from Jericho. And I don't blame you for missing the point. You missed most points. It's the attack from Jericho at the end, the power of the two men involved, and not only that, but Darby Allin
got a pop like Undertaker. Holy
he is over,
shit.
brother.
No,
he's
I want to.
So over.
Shit.
He comes in, he's beating ass with the skateboard. And
did you pay attention to Darby Allin?
Up a Moxley Allen tag team. Did I pay attention to what, brother?
Every week we talk about this. Every single goddamn week we talk about what these companies are just doing to rip us off. Did you take a look at Darby Allin trying to represent the CEO brand, I guess, coming out in a fucking suit. Listen, Darby, leave that to the big boys, okay? Take your little skateboard, okay? Do your coffin drops on your own time. Leave the suit wearing to the people who can afford it, okay? And let's just watch out.
Out of your
I mean,
there, buddy.
Yeah, it looks like he stole one of my lesser suits, and I was actually quite happy with Darby being out for a while. I think we saw a little too much of him. He's a decent wrestler.
So over.
I don't know.
You're out of your damn mind.
He could be over, but that's a lot of these fans are really loose-brained, I guess is the best way to put it. I just don't understand this Darby Allin. If he's going to bring a skateboard to the ring, expect it to get used on you if you let go. I did like some of the maneuvers he used with that skateboard. He did a kickflip on someone's back. I thought that was pretty interesting. I would probably put him in jail for it, assault with a deadly weapon. But Alpha, how do you feel? The result of this match doesn't really matter. Obviously we knew Moxie was going to win. Small package, just like you. Right off a pretty cool suplex from Jeff Cobb. Again, a little bit slow of a match, but Goldust comes on out to help Moxley after he starts getting attacked, and then obviously we have Mr. Darby Allin, the CEO, coming in. What do you think? What's the dynamic here?
I don't understand your question. You asking me if I thought the match went over, or?
No, just in general, what do you think of this story and how they're building it with these three different storylines all in one? And how do you
like it. I can't wait to see John Moxley and Darby Allin lay the whack down in some tag team action, brother. I'm ready for Moxley to continue this systematic destruction of the inner circle. And I thought it was cool that Dustin Rhodes came out in support of old John Moxley. What'd you think of that?
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
And gear and everything, not wrestling, still putting on the paint. You gotta love it. Yeah, I do. We joke a little bit here and there, and I do like seeing the old man come on out. This is the time to shine, and you gotta do your best. And I can't wait for the Hager beatdown that he's gonna get when it comes to Revolution, because in just 9 to 10 days from now, we're gonna be seeing
This is like the best. This is what this company does well. Is it builds up to its pay-per-views perfectly. And this show is just part of it, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. I'm actually thinking about buying this pay-per-view and really sitting down and hammering it out and watching it, not just getting the updates on the internet afterwards. Because
you better watch it, because we're going to be questioning you afterwards. We'll have our first post pay-per-view babyface and the heel matchup, and we're going to need that referee to keep us in line, because one of these days Jimmy's going to be coming on back. Okay, I still haven't heard from him, and we're not going to get into that today, because I just if I think about it, it makes me want to attack you, and I don't want to attack you, Alpha. I don't know what you did to my cousin, but I'm assuming. You put that hand down. I'm assuming that come Revolution, we're gonna have Jimmy's take on all this. I just don't know. I can't guarantee it. So until then, you get this beautiful face setting up one of the better pay-per-views I've been. I haven't wanted to purchase a pay-per-view for a while in wrestling, and I'm with you. I think it's going to be worthy of purchase. So yeah, at the end of this, we had all that All Elite, the Inner Circle doing their thing. We had a whole lot of chaos, which leads us to the number one contender tag match, the number one, the title match, tag match. Jan, Jesus,
woo, what a match that was! Come on,
gosh, damn, it was nice.
So we got Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, the tag team champions. The story is that they're just not getting along, but they're starting to. It's starting to mesh. I got something in my head for after this.
Shit. Let's bring this out. Lucha Brothers are the best thing in wrestling ever. They're just one of the best wrestlers. You can't get any better.
Let me ask you, have you seen that Penelope? Kip Sabian's girl? Penelope?
What? Yeah, but no, yeah.
You're gonna say that the Lucha Brothers are better than that? I don't know. Come on, Rick.
100%.
Head out of the sand, man. Come on.
Now, Ricky, I agree that the Lucha Brothers are an amazing tag team combo. They fly high and they fly fast. But I'll tell you what, no matter how much I don't like the BBB, the Butcher and the Blade has better team combination moves than the Lucha Brothers.
The Lucha Brothers are just a ball of fire, and they're doing almost every move is a finishing move. Times 10, done in a way that's always got you on edge. There was at the beginning, before the match even started, you got Rey Fenix running across the top of the ropes, and he slipped. And if he had slipped the other direction, outside the ring, it could have been pretty detrimental to the match. He ended up slipping and landing on the inside of the ring and played it off like it was meant to be. But he pulled that same maneuver off later in the match, where he ran along the ropes. I don't even know how he fucking would think to do that and think it's an option or an idea, let alone a good idea. But he pulled it off in the match. Just a lot of tandem type maneuvers, and we saw a lot of this stuff actually happen in the Tag Team Battle Royale as well. But seeing it centralized and focused on this tag match, where a helping hand, so to speak, of I'm going to use my downed opponent to leapfrog over and do another move on the guy across the ring, things like that. This match was just full of action. Alpha, what did you take away from some of the action in this match?
I loved it, brother. They had so many good high spots. They had Hangman going over the top rope in a perfectly flat fashion, almost like a plank maneuver. And some of the most craziest finisher moves that would have killed a man, and they're kicking out of him. I mean, this match, you thought it was over when Omega, I don't even know what that maneuver was that he got hit with, and he kicked out of it like hit with a lifeless body. He kicked out. And then I got a huge pop out of that one. Then Phoenix is kicking out of Omega's finishing moves and stuff. Yep. Brother, I was popping the whole time.
Now, I know we don't want to dilly-dally here, but I got to just point out for all the CEO fans out there, if I could bring you back, 20 years, these Lucha Bros remind me a lot of the good old Strike Force. Stripe Force, not the Strike Force. Jeez, those jobbers. No, the Stripe Force.
Get your shit straight.
You had yourself Rugged Stripes and Rubik's Cube. I just see that this team here is just a modern-day version of that, pulling off some of those very similar maneuvers. I'd like to see, and they talked about it in the match today, in the commentary during the match, that these two have been a tag team for life. They're brothers, but they've basically, ever since they started wrestling, they've been a tag team. And they even, I think it was Ray, they said that he hadn't wrestled a singles match in like 4 years or 5 years or something like that. So they're a tag team. It would be interesting to see down the road. I don't need it right away, but down the road, it'd be interesting to see these two go at it and kind of put on a show. But then anytime
they ever would turn on each other.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to necessarily be a turn. It could be a respect match or something. It could just be maybe they won a tournament and one guy's won the belt or so. I don't know. I'd like to see it, but on the flip side, I want to get your take here. Because this whole time, this whole storyline, this whole, Hangman and Mr. Happy, Omega, so they win, right? They win after, again, Hangman clotheslines Omega. We get that. We have a couple of moments in the match where these two seemingly are going to fall apart. And again, you got Hangman coming through, cleaning house. He gets attacked, makes a stupid move. You get Omega coming in, cleaning house, like you said, just finisher after finisher. Everyone's kicking out. Finally, they get their I forget the name of their finisher, but they land it hard.
The V-trigger lariat. Oh my God, man, devastating move. When they hit that thing right, woo! God, good night.
I popped for that, mostly from the Hangman side. But I was thinking, okay, when we saw the Young Bucks come up afterwards, get in that ring and try to help Omega up, there was a specific moment, and I want to know if you caught it, where obviously Adam Page is sitting back like, what the fuck? He decided I'm going to help Omega up, right? And he goes over to help Omega up, and Omega looks over at the Young Bucks like, what the fuck are you doing touching me? Did anyone catch that?
I did. I saw it.
Yep. And that got me thinking, and I hadn't thought about this. I thought this was going to be a build-up for a Hangman Omega feud, down the line. What if this is a build-up for a heel Omega, and Omega and Page continue on as tag team champions and unify after their match with the Young Bucks? What if they win that match? I mean, I think a lot of people would expect the Young Bucks to get the belt and that they would have been the first tag team to have the belts, like they said. But you've already seen SCU get the belts. Now you have these two, the Elite. What if the Elite break up? What if Omega turns heel and goes full heel?
I hope so. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. Man, I would hate to see a perfectly good face like Omega. I mean, there ain't anybody better on the mic. There is not a better personality in the ring than Omega. It would be devastating to his career if he turned heel. Ain't nobody like a heel.
No, I don't know about that. I think he'd see his sales skyrocket, and I think he'd take a look around and realize people don't like that good guy image. They don't like the babyface aspect.
You think anybody's going to buy a heel Omega action figure that's available on the market right now?
Hey,
no.
You know, those action figures look pretty good. They're called Cool Toys, and you can get them right now. I'm pretty sure that we're waiting for a phone call to get ourselves scanned and modeled so that we can get in there. Maybe that's where Jimmy's at right now. Maybe he's on a long vacation getting himself an action figure. But one other thing I got
back today from it. You didn't get the invite?
I did not yet, but I mean, I'm the one who sent you. I'm the one who filed the paperwork saying you could. I just don't read my paperwork. I just sign it.
Man.
Right. They specifically wanted me for the eye patch scan because they're like, this Moxley one ain't coming out right.
Yeah. Did you catch one other thing before we move to the next thing here is as Omega's getting into the ring, someone had a sign that said, "Omega, will you marry me?" And the level of pureness, he giggled like a little child, like, you know, and as he was getting into the ring, rewatch it if you didn't catch it. As he's getting into the ring, he's literally like, you could tell that really got on and made him seriously like humbled and laughed, and it was a pretty interesting moment. Not one that I would expect a competitor to be getting into the ring, and I think he should leave that business outside. We're not talking about weddings here. Leave that to the WWE.
Get the hell out of here, man.
You know?
That shit was fun. But look, what you think about the end of the match? I mean,
hey,
that
the last 2 minutes of that match is unrivaled in AEW. That was the best 2 minutes in AEW history. It can go minute for minute with any other match, and it was better than all of them. I got to shoot. I had to take care of myself. I had to pause it. I had to go in the bathroom, get some lotion. I had to take care of myself after the match. It was that damn good. It felt, you know?
Yeah. And then you move on to the main event, and you're like, how the hell are you top that?
Hold on. Before we get into that, we got to talk about the action figures. I got one more thing to bring up, CEO. I've been meaning to tell you that we should do this.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
And you said we got to run our ideas through you, which I think is total malarkey, but
I appreciate you at least respecting it.
I think we should get a few of these dolls, see if we can get the first run of the Alpha. I don't think they're making one for you. Ricky probably has a better chance of getting one than you, but get a few of these dolls. What do you think we do a giveaway?
I think that sounds like a good idea. As a matter of fact, I told him you don't have authorization to use my likeness. So Jimmy, he can go do what he wants, but there will be no CEO action figure. I've made a point. They can pay me. They can negotiate. Tony can call me himself. I'll do it as a favor for a friend. Outside of that, and I haven't talked to Tony about it, there will be no CEO action figure. I apologize to the audience who's looking forward to that. But I think that sounds like a great idea. And I think we can probably swing it. I don't know, maybe I can make some calls. Maybe we'll get a couple of the first runs. I think that sounds like a delicious plan. What does the chat think? What does the chat think about that? Is that something the chat would enjoy?
Yeah, if anybody out there, who would you want as an official AEW doll? I seen they had a Brandy, they had a Cody, they had
that's the only one I've seen. They had what? Who?
Omega. They got to have a Orange Cassidy. If they don't have Orange Cassidy, then you can consider myself. This is my 2 weeks notice right now.
They got to get Jericho.
They did have
Jericho. Yeah.
They had Jericho. Yeah, Jericho was there. They had a lot of people, but they also, while they were talking to them, and they muffled the audio a little bit, but I was listening, they were saying, the jacket doesn't fit yet. We're trying to mold it. So there's still some of these maybe that video was recorded a while ago, but some of these action figures are still being put together. So they'll probably have a couple of, the first run, like you said, the Young Bucks, I imagine, would probably be right out the gate. Cody. The Cody one looks really good. It looks really clean. Just not enough blood all over it,
Yeah.
I hear you, brother. Let's talk about that cage match.
Speaking of not enough blood, was there enough blood in this cage match for you? You blood-hungry alpha maniac over there?
Now, I'll tell you what. There was plenty of blood. There was plenty of color. And I thought it was a perfectly well set up match. Whoever was calling that match did a gosh damn good job. I know it was an odd law, but I liked how they played his size up. He's a gosh damn specimen.
Yeah, I actually want to address this because this is the first time we've seen Oddlaw Wardlow, and also we're going to be seeing Jake Hager pretty soon. And we've been talking a little bit about this, how the big guys in the AEW may not stack up as big in other federations, but after looking at Cobb and looking at Wardlow and looking at even Jake Hager in the ring and Luchasaurus, they're starting to build this big guy regimen. Even the Butcher got in there, got right up in Luchasaurus's face in that tag battle royale, and he may not be as tall, but as far as imposing figure, the Butcher is a big ass man. He doesn't look like a standard wrestler. He looks like a butcher, but they're starting to put together quite a big guy agenda, and I think Wardlow fits right in. He actually did a pretty decent job. If you took this match, you took the cage off the match, I would say this match was okay. It was a decent match. The cage added that fun. It was the first AEW cage match, so there was a lot of cool dynamic there. But I will say that tag match, it's going to be hard to follow something like that. And if it wasn't Cody, and it wasn't Cody getting ripped open off that steel cage, and if it wasn't Cody taking risks and jumping off that top, doing that moonsault, I think this would have been a standard match.
Back and let you talk this absolute garbage. That match took me right back to Hogan versus Andre. He was trying to chop him down the whole time. He could never get him down. He couldn't get him down. Finally got him down with the gosh damn crossroads, brother. And not only did that not finish him, he had to go up. I know he could have did that moonsault off the top turnbuckle. It would not have been as good as a high spot. But it took me right back to Hogan versus Andre, one of the best matches of all time.
I'm getting word we got to head into these of the weeks, but I do got to say I'm not saying it was a bad match by any means. I just think that the excitement and the craziness of that tag match, it diluted the excitement of the steel cage. Not in a bad way, not in a game changing kind of way, but those were both main events, if that makes any sense. And so I personally enjoyed the tag match more. So for me, yes, there were spots in the cage match that were phenomenal, but maybe the more I think about it, maybe I might have liked the tag match better. But in your analogy there with the big men, with the big, the larger than life aspect of it, yeah, this is Andre and Hogan. Cody is the guy. He may not be the biggest guy. He may not be the tallest, but he is the guy in the company. He did take himself out of the title mix, but he did so without saying he's not going to wrestle. Okay, he is going to wrestle. He's going to put on shows. He's going to put on main events. Tony's going to have him cutting his forehead, whatever, right? But what did you think of Wardlow and his presence? Ricky, I'd like to just hear what you think of this guy and the first time we've had a chance to see this guy finally wrestle.
I think that Cody carried him. I think he's a big guy. I think he's got some power moves, but he definitely needs to pick it up in the speed department. And he was a very safe worker. I will say that. I like the fact that he was working safe, and he caught Cody the best way he could when he did that amazing moonsault off the top of the cage.
No look.
Yeah, that was a hell of a moonsault. and definitely something that we're going to be talking about here in just a few minutes because
what the hell was that? But Wardlow, I think he just needs a little bit more experience, get in there a couple more times, and he's gonna be a big name shortly.
We can't just overlook that helicopter toss he did at Cody. He made him look like my 8-year-old father. That was amazing. He's green. He's green.
Yeah.
But he has every single ounce of ability to go. He just needs to lose that attitude, brother.
Yeah. Hey. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Sid Vicious and Batista put together. If Sid Vicious and Batista came together, that would be that's Wardlow for me.
I can see that. Now, there were two different moments I just want to call out. One of the moments was when he threw Cody against the cage, and I noticed the cage didn't really attach to the ring. And, if Cody had fallen, he could have fallen down in literally a really bad spot. And a few minutes later, of course, these announcers, they impressed me because I saw it. And then you have JR and Tony talking about how this isn't a standard steel cage. There's spots like where Cody got cut from the cage, or if he fell the wrong way, he could get his leg caught down in there and break it. And I think that was probably a shoot because there was space between, but not enough to fit. So he could have fallen with his leg if he just slipped and his leg came off that apron down. It would have been a bad spot. And there was a couple of moments where it looked like that could happen. I can't believe that they did the spot with the blood during a commercial break. Can't believe that. But
I have that in my notes, brother. How are you going to cut to a mother effing commercial 30 seconds into a gosh damn match?
Yeah, and I think when you have a match like the cage match and a main event, unless it's an extremely long match, they gotta stop that. I know it's about the money. I know. The show wouldn't be there. And listen, I understand money. I understand drive, but we're already watching. Okay, we're already there. No one's pausing it. Our eyes are in. Give us that promo or give us that commercial prior to the match while we're excited. Our eyes are glued. Okay, give us that afterwards, and then do something a little bit more to keep us sticking around to watch the end. But people who are going to fast forward are going to fast forward. You want us to be excited about these commercials and the products that are supporting AEW. Stop putting them in the middle of matches, in significant matches. Put them in the middle of a Statlander match. Put them in the middle of a Nyla Rose interview, I guess. I don't know, but don't put them in the middle of a tag team or a steel cage match. And one other thing I have in my notes is why would Arn hesitate? Why did Arn Anderson hesitate? Like he might hit Cody. Like what?
Oh my God! 2 weeks ago, brother. I
know you did.
Know if it was when you were gone.
I watched.
Or it was last week when I said that Arn is going to do a heel turn and be on MJF's team.
I agree with you. And
give you guys a history lesson real quick.
Yes, you can.
So back when Arn Anderson first joined the Four Horsemen, there was a cage match between Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. Okay, Dusty Rhodes was climbing out of the cage just like Cody was, and Arn Anderson is out there looking dead at Dusty, and you can even hear it in the show last night or that night. MJF looks at Arn Anderson and say, "Go ahead and turn on Rhodes just like you turned on his daddy. Turn on him, and he looks at Cody like, it's tempting." Real tempting to turn on him, just like I turned on Dusty Rhodes.
So he did. That's what he was referring to. And I got to give my cousin Ricky over here.
Turning me on now.
I got to give him some credit here. This is the guy who told me when I was a kid who the hell Sting was and who the hell Ric Flair was. This is a WCW. This is why we hired Ricky Reed to do us this refereeing. Okay, he understands jiu-jitsu. He understands how to keep us apart. He understands how to keep Alpha and Jimmy T apart, but he also understands his wrestling. And if you go back to when we were 4 or 5 years old, he'd tell us who Ric Flair, he'd tell me and my brother who Ric Flair was, got us watching some of that WCW, which I didn't even know existed. And he's got stacks of magazines. You remember those magazines? You had stacks of them. So when he talk, I mean, he knows what he's talking about. I didn't catch that whole MJF thing, but I'd love to see MJF lead a new era of Four Horsemen. I know that the Four Horsemen, quote unquote, but if you have someone like Arn Anderson, Double A, and I can't imagine that they wouldn't.
Don't forget Tully Blanchard's in there, bro.
I know.
They have those two guys working together.
Well, maybe they're just setting. You can't give us all the whole pizza at once. You know, you gotta pace it out. This is a lifelong thing. AEW ain't going nowhere, and so maybe that's something they're building up to. Ric Flair was on the fucking boat or wherever, you know, and there's been a couple of other Four Horsemen out there. I'm sure one of them's alive. Bring them all in. Pass the baton and let Wardlow be the silent assassin, just like Steve. What's his name there? Steve McMichael and whoever, you know. Let MJF be the Ric Flair. You know, he's young.
Michael Sullivan.
Well, they've had, like I said, they had a couple. You know, in the later years of the Four Horsemen, you had Steve McMichaels, right? He wasn't the football player who went and became the big guy in the Four Horsemen. So, anyways, a lot of cool stuff going on there. I gotta say, Alpha, you had the eye that saw this a couple of weeks ago when I was watching from the booth up top, and so that's why I put that in my notes. Like, wow, the fact that he hesitated, yeah, maybe they're calling it going back to that history, but there's a reason they're going back to that history, and I think you guys might be right. I think we might see an Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard even coming on out. Maybe Sean Spears would be a great addition to this team.
I see Sean Spears and Austin Aries joining that team.
Austin Aries. Interesting.
He was present at that in the backstage of that show. Not many people know about that. Hey,
one thing we didn't comment on, which I want to comment on and then get into these of the weeks, is just Alpha pointed out Raven was here. And, you know, we had a little bit of Dark Order. We finally got to see that blonde guy. I don't know what his name is, but we're really leading up to the Exalted One getting announced. In just 9 or 10 days, we're going to have Matt Hardy. His contract's going to be over. But maybe that's the swerve. We have Raven sitting there right in the crowd, literally right next to the Dark Order. And real quick, what do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't have noticed that unless my brother, his name's Dustin the Crab King, he pointed it out to me that guy was there. Oh, Raven. I don't know that much about this, Jabroni.
Raven.
But if you look behind, if anybody wants to go back and watch, right when that handsome fella with old CEO's outfit on, he's just saying the Exalted One is near, and if you look right between Fat Hardy and the handsome fella, he's right there behind him, brother.
The one thing I would say is that he didn't seem like he was paying attention, but maybe that was on purpose. He also looks like shit. So if he is the Exalted One, you know, I think at least Matt Hardy's a bit more relevant right now. And I never really liked Raven. I hated his gimmick. But then when he became an ECW champion and basically ran ECW, he did a lot of shitty things, in my opinion, in the back, using his star power and whatnot. Johnny Polo, that version of Raven, big fan. Okay, I was a big fan of Johnny Polo, not so much of the Raven that we know from today.
Look, I'm looking forward to seeing whoever the Exalted One is, but that didn't happen tonight. So let's get into these of the weeks. We got the high spot of the week, batch of the week, best story of the week, superstar of the week, and promo of the week. So let's start it off, man. What's first?
And now the high spot of the week.
We got a high spot, brother.
Yes, we do. High spot of the week. Alpha, hit me with your high spot.
I mean, it's obviously the moonsault off the top. It was the most icon. Yeah. I've seen that thing shared all over social media. It was the highest, flyingest move of the evening. You had so many good moves throughout the night.
That was one of the
tag was awesome, but it all just kept building up straight to that moonsault, and it got the biggest pop out of the big pink machine.
Yeah, I agree. But real quick, I'll just say I think we see week in and week out these competitors going for our different titles here. When we started making a big deal about the promos, the next show there was 40 promos. I think Cody probably pulled them all aside and said, look, don't do too many crazy things. We had a lot of crazy moves throughout the whole night, but there weren't too many high spots. I mean, there were a lot of crazy moves. There were a couple high spots, but nothing to even come close to overshadowing Cody. I think Cody came right out and said he wants to earn a unanimous decision high spot of the week from Babyface and the heel. And we'll see if that's going to happen. I'm putting my name in there. I'm calling Cody Rhodes the high spot of the week. And
yep.
Rick, is it a 3 for 3?
It is not a 3 for 3.
Unbelievable. You're fired.
Like you said, you hired me to call it down the middle, and I got to call it down the middle. The moonsault was a crazy, unbelievable move, and I give him all the credit in the world. But Sammy Guevara taking that kick from Matt Jackson has to be my high spot of the week because he sold it absolutely perfectly. Cody ended it right with his moonsault, and you can't outdo that. I'm not saying it wasn't outdone, but it was a little sketchy, flying 20 feet down to the canvas and just missing Wardlow by that much.
Yeah.
But my high spot of the week has to be Sammy Guevara. He sold that perfectly. He took that kick right in the exact spot and folded up just the way he needed to sell that the best way.
I don't know if you got the memo, but that adds, and we'll just do this right now.
And now, the bump of the week.
You gosh damn right.
Because, there's a reason we put this in here, right? The bump of the week is for moments like this. Hands down, Sammy Guevara gets the bump of the week, but I got to give it an honorable.
I gotta stop you right there. We've been talking about this Sammy Guevara bump all night. We're not even going to talk about Ray Phoenix.
I was
doing
going to
that jump off the top turnbuckle and take the knee straight to the jaw, brother. Dude, that can kill you. Just like that kick, that can kill you. And it's more risky. I think he was spinning around and stuff while he was doing it or something. But
if you ever climb on the top rope, Alpha, and you're coming down on me, just remember, that could kill you.
Yeah, if I don't kill you first, brother.
No, I definitely think Ray Phoenix took a serious bump as well. He comes in at number 2 for my bump of the week, but number 1 definitely Sammy Guevara getting that kick squared in the jaw. Like I said, or like Ricky said, he folded in half, but from the wrong direction, and lifeless body just laying there in the ground. 2 seconds later, he's up and running around the ring. Couldn't believe it. But
that
yeah,
Sammy Guevara can sell. I'll tell you what.
Between MJF and Sammy Guevara, they just have really started breeding these new superstars that are hungry and ready. And I think just way back when you think back to the when Hogan was just getting started, when back in the day. Before Ricky and I even had a chance to talk about WCW, back when there were markets instead of federations. These guys started young. There was no work your way up till you're 40. Some of the guys were 40, some of the guys 50, some of the guys were 18. And Hulk Hogan was young once. The guy still looks like he did 20 years ago somehow. Younger than he did in 86 when he won the belt. But, Sammy Guevara...
Now you're looking.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, his eyes look like they're 200 years deep in his head, but Hogan himself still looks pretty damn good for as old as he is, and he actually looks more relevant and hip than he did in 1986, and his hairline and everything looks better now. But yeah, it's true, but money too. But see, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is, people like Sammy Guevara and MJF are going to be here for a very long time, and they both have skill sets. They can take moves, they can give moves. They both know social media. They both know the mic, and they're going to be the type of people. Cody Rhodes himself as well, going to be the type of people that take AEW to the next level.
Oh yeah. So what's the next spot of the week, man?
Well, the next one we're going to be doing here is...
And now, the promo of the week.
What?
So with promo of the...
There wasn't too many promos.
There was one. and well, if you want to call... Alpha, if you want to call the Cool Toys promo a promo, I see that as a promo, which I think might have gotten...
Literally.
Yeah, it was literally a promotion. That might have gotten my pick because I'm excited about AEW branching out and starting to become a product that you can purchase at Walmart or wherever. But I got to give this one to Nyla Rose. You know, this is her chance to start building her character and her force and get the mic. You saw her promo. She was dominant in her promo. It brought out Big Swole, who mumbled some really weird stuff. I thought that was funny. And then it brought out Chris Statlander, who, aside from the alien gimmick, which we could probably do without, she started to do and maybe this might be the transition out of it. You know, maybe this was the build up to take that away, but the boop almost came. And instead of saying, if you touch my nose, I'll break your fucking face, she was like, if you touch my nose, if you think that's going to hurt me. Like, why would they let her? What was the boop off in the whole match? I don't even know why we didn't talk about that, but she booped the belt. I thought that was cool. That whole promo kind of worked. Statlander brought that booping into that without making it look too bad. And Nyla Rose killed it with her dominance and her verbiage. Rick and Alpha, tell me, what do you think?
Agreed.
Yeah, there was only 3 to choose from. You could do the Dork Order one. I wish they would have finally actually revealed the Exalted one instead of teasing a Raven. If they would have revealed right then and there, and then took over that whole tag team Rumble match with the Exalted one, all the scabs or whatever they're called, and just took over that whole match, that would have definitely been promo of the week, storyline of the week for me.
You know, it's a shame that
they left us hanging again.
I do believe that Matt Hardy's going to be the Exalted one. I believe it with a shadow of a doubt. And it sucks that his contract is over at the end of this month, and the pay-per-view is a day before the end of this month, because I think we would see the Exalted one. But that leads us up to the event after. Maybe they'll reset. Maybe the Dark Order won't have that big of a presence at Revolution. But let's kick into this next one here.
And now, the storyline of the week.
Storyline of the week.
Yeah.
All right, Rick, what do you got? What's your story?
Again, I can't get enough of Hangman Page's subtle but brilliant beef with the Elite. I mean, the way he walked off at the end of the tag match, and he had the best match of the night, I'd say, with him and Omega. I mean, they make a great tag team. They just can't get on the same page. I love those subtle little story tells, or the way they told the story subtly. That's my story of the week.
That's not a bad one, brother. But it's the same thing every week. I feel like they're not building it. But I agree. I'm still interested, but I wish they'd keep progressing it more and more. Maybe I'm just impatient. But my storyline of the week is definitely Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. I can't wait to see those guys actually team up. That not only is Darby Allin saving Moxley now. Did Moxley save Allin a couple weeks ago when he got his throat slammed? And I can't wait to see those guys take over the tag team division, maybe the 3-way division, including old Dustin Reynolds in there.
Yeah.
God damn it, you got me saying Dustin Reynolds. His name's Dusty Reynolds.
That's Dustin Reynolds. Okay. I'm with you on looking forward to it, and I really hope that maybe even after Revolution they start introducing that triple tag team belt. I think that would be awesome. But I think for me, storyline of the week goes to Cody. But the telling of the story of the match, the build up, the weeks in and weeks out. Cody is spilling his blood. The whips he took a couple weeks ago were just ridiculous. Or was that last week? I can't even remember now. But he is truly putting everything he's got into this. I'm glad that they scrapped the Nightmare Collective. And I'm glad that they brought Brandy back in. She's as hot as can be, and they're a good team. I don't know why they spread them apart in the first place. But yeah, I think that the Cody storyline between him and MJF and how just the same as how Moxley's picking apart the Inner Circle. You got yourself Cody coming in and picking apart whatever MJF seems to throw at him, taking everything, and he That was a hell of a moonsault, hell of a story in the match, and would have liked to see Wardlow pull off a victory somehow, maybe a cheat to win type thing from MJF. Would have liked to see a little bit of a diversion there. But Cody gets the win. He's the boss. He gets to call the shots, and then he gets the win, and we're setting up an awesome match for Revolution. I do,
and that's why you like AEW, man.
Yeah.
You tell great stories all the way through, and it's not just the same story. You got different stories for different people, and we picked 3 different stories just in this 2-hour show.
Yes,
Can't
we
say
did.
that about any other wrestling show.
And now,
why AEW is
the match of the week.
So match. What do you guys got, Rick? Rick, what's your match of the week?
Oh, come on. Without a doubt, it has to be Omega and Page versus the Lucha Brothers. I mean, that high speed finisher after finisher, unbelievable, edge of your seat action. That's the type of stuff that you got to have in your program, and they deliver every week. My best match is Omega and Page taking on the Lucha Brothers.
Alpha, where are you at with this?
That was a good match, brother. That was a damn good match. But I'll tell you what, it did not have my emotions running like that tag team Royal Rumble. That
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, not only did it, I've never seen a tag team Rumble before. I'll be the first one to admit I haven't been watching wrestling since 2001. So I don't know if they've done this before. But it was a tag team Royal Rumble right off the rip, which is new.
Yes.
They're all going at each other, which is new. They got me laughing. They got me shouting out loud. They got me cheering. They got me booing. They got everything out of me. That's what you want in a match, and that tag team Royal Rumble did it for me, brother.
And I'm gonna Jeff. I am not Jimmy Thompson. Okay. Thank you.
You look like him, you ugly
Jesus.
bastard.
Holy shit.
Excuse. You watch your tone while you were talking to the CEO.
Come
Now,
on, boss.
anyways,
What was your match?
I was gonna go with the Alpha, but now I'm just going straight with you, Richard. So, yeah,
Whoa. Not my name, son.
Ricky. Anyways,
Yes,
the tag team match, the title match was definitely, I'm no liar. I've talked about it quite a bit in the past. I love tag team matches. I love what AEW is doing with tag teams and rebuilding and rebranding and pushing. And you never know what you're going to get. Everyone's a tag team partner. Everybody. I mean, we saw in the Battle Royale, we saw Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy instead of Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy, which we've seen in the past. So you never know what you're going to get in AEW, and you're not pigeonholed into one thing. You can have a 3-way, you can have a 4-way, you can have an 8-man tag team match. It's just we're seeing so many different dynamics. But when you get down to it, this core tag team match between two teams that just put it all together. And I go back to when I was in AEW back in earlier in the year. And a lot of people had a lot of hate for Hangman Page. They just didn't like him. They had, they talk about, he's nobody, he's a bum. The crowd was against Hangman Page, and he was supposed to be this smiley good guy. And here we have, not even a year later, the cowboy shit is probably the coolest chant, and the crowd is so over. And I think I really like the end.
Jericho's bitch.
Yeah, that's true. But one of the things I loved about this match at the end after the victory, and the storyline involved in it was, he kind of changed his dynamic just a tad. This was after the whole Omega thing. This is why I feel like Omega might be going heel as opposed to, splitting up and having a feud. He was not celebrating with the fans today. Last night. I don't know if you caught that. He was demanding beer from them. People were trying to high five him. He kind of swatted their hands away and said, "No, give me beer." And some guy gave him a beer. He pounded it. And then he looked through the crowd and he said, "Give me another one."
Give me another one.
And people were cheering for him. A couple weeks ago, he was in the crowd surfing. His dynamic is changing a little bit. And, maybe that's the alcohol angle. But I really do. I think that match, the whole package, all the way down to the end, the story in the match, and what we're leading up to. I can't wait for the Lucha. I'm sorry, the Young Bucks. I always want to say Hardy Boys just because they look a lot like that tag team. But the Young Bucks, I can't wait. They're an awesome tag team, put on a great show, and I'm looking forward to the Omega Hangman, the next part of this journey. And any match they're in, I'm going to watch, just like John Jones, right? But I think we got one more. of the week.
And now, the superstar of the week.
Superstar.
So if you could pick just one, Alpha.
It's the most iconic wrestler in the whole gosh damn business right now. He got over with that moonsault. Seeing him standing on top of that cage after the match was over, just giving the crowd what they want, just the praise, watching them enjoy his presence and just taking it all in. We're talking Cody Rhodes, superstar of the week, brother.
Ricky, what are you thinking?
It's got to be a vote for Cody Rhodes for me. I mean, he has proven that a babyface can overcome, and he has put AEW on his back and just shot it to the fucking moon. Can't get no better than this man. My vote, Cody Rhodes, superstar of the week.
I got to add something to my pick. I got to add something right now. And seeing him take all these bumps and hit all these high spots, it reminds me a lot of old Shane McMahon in the WWF a long time ago.
I agree.
That's the truth.
He don't have to do these gosh damn bumps, but he is, because he knows it's going to put this company over.
Yeah,
yes. Truly
giving his blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm going to go ahead and, I wouldn't normally do this and agree with both of you at the same time, but I am going to. I think that Cody Rhodes, he's doing what he needs to do for the business, and that's why I'm picking Cody. He is the superstar of the week because he's putting himself out there like a true CEO would, and he's still learning. He has a lot to learn on how to be the leader of a business. I could teach him one or two things, maybe 20 or 30 to be honest, but Cody Rhodes did what he needed to do for Tony and the stock of AEW. That moonsault was a risky maneuver, but there was more to it than that. There was just the idea of a cage match, the awe and inspiration of leading that locker room and saying, I'm going to put myself out there. I don't think we've seen that much blood in an AEW match unless we've seen Cody Rhodes in the match. And so I know Dustin got ripped open, but we're talking two Rhodes brothers who spilled more blood for AEW than Ric Flair does in a normal day. And so, Cody Rhodes gets the pick. I was going to go with Jericho because he's just everywhere. And, he just happens to be ringside. He somehow gets seats ringside. He's coming up on the, wherever. But no, I'm not really going to pick Jericho. I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes. And I'm going to say this was one hell of an episode. And I am not going to pass on Revolution. I'll be purchasing it. And maybe we'll have a watch party in the back room over here in the backlog, and we'll get our enjoyment together. But what do you guys think? Any final words as we wrap this up? I'm gonna go to you, Alpha, for some final words, and then we'll bring it over to Ricky to wrap us up so that we can talk about a raid. Are you gonna be streaming, Alpha?
I am going to be streaming, brother. Going to be laying the whack down on some Apex Legends with some Battle Royale Rumble.
That sounds pretty good. Who? Let's make a decision right now. Are we gonna be rating the Alpha?
You know what? I'm gonna make an executive decision because you're obviously incapable of doing it. We're gonna raid. I say we raid Daylights, brother.
That sounds good to me. Daylights. He's coming in hot. Over on the Backlog Network. Let me just put this out there. I'm gonna step away as we give to the final thoughts. But I just want to point out over here in the Backlog Network Discord. We're trying to grow a network. We're trying to put together people like the Alpha, like Ricky Reed, and Daylights, and so many others. There's so many great content creators, and we're putting them together. We're giving them an opportunity to talk to each other and have not just content creators meet content creators, but fans of content creators meet other content creators, right? We're bringing audiences together, and we're trying to put together tournaments like the Dilly Hart Invitational, which Alpha put together, and it went off without a hitch. Just an amazing tournament that I almost won.
Stone Cold Steve Fava.
Yep, and so, yeah, exactly, Stone Cold. I mean, we got our whole chat is filled with some amazing content creators, and we have new ones coming in every day. We got some of them streaming while we're streaming. So, don't hesitate to visit the Discord. Down below, there should be a link that says Backlog Network Discord. If you're not in it, click that link, and on the once you set it up, on the right-hand side, you're going to see who's streaming. So right now, you might have 5, 6, 7, 15 really good streamers. Be a part of the network. Get involved now because we're just getting started and we're just starting to grow. This is the one and only show on this channel, but we're about to have 5 or 6. And when we have 5 or 6 shows, people are going to start noticing the network. And I think people like Daylights, who have built a community and they have a loyal community base, when we start putting these communities together, having them rip each other's hair out, having them fight for Nintendo Switches and subs and tournament victories and these communities. Action figures. These communities are good. People are going to have to, you know, Ricky, you're going to have to choose. Whose community are you in? You can't be in Alphas and Daylights. You can't be, you know, maybe you pick the MMA Marks community, right? Maybe you pick, I don't know, one of the many, right? But you can only pick one. And so you know, maybe you change affiliation, but when you go into a tournament, and we're going to be running a tournament here sometime in early March, where we're going to be giving away a Nintendo Switch, a Fortnite tournament. 100 people are going to be entering. $5 to get in. You could win a Nintendo Switch for $5. On top of that, whoever the community leader is that you represent, right? Say you're in the Purple Gang, Daylights, and you're just a player of Fortnite. You're not a streamer. You come in, join, pay $5, get in, win that tournament. Daylights gets a bunch of gifted subs. You get yourself a Nintendo Switch. Sounds like a pretty damn good deal to me. What do you guys think?
Hell yeah. What a pitch by the CEO of the Backlog Network and all the shit that's coming up this year. I can't wait. And that's why you're in the business seat at the top dog. Go ahead, man. I'll tell you what, this show was off the hook. Congrats to AEW, Dynamite. They put another banger out this week, and I can't wait till Revolution and next week, Dynamite.
Ricky, hold that belt up again and let people see my new belt. Let them know how I'm winning it.
You got to win this belt, son.
Oh, I'm the only goddamn one in the 600 club right now. It's my guy. It even said at the bottom, the Alpha. Now tell them how I'm winning.
You talk about the Fight Pick Championship belt right here, son. Oh, this is a year-long competition between content creators, streamers, and podcasters. Y'all need to get in next year. Get one of these.
And who's in first place, brother?
Well, at the moment, I can't lie. Out.